The year 2147 marked a milestone in human history when the deep space probe, Helios, detected a signal emanating from the edge of the Oort cloud. It was unmistakably artificial, a patterned sequence of pulses suggesting not just intelligence, but a beckoning call. Within weeks, the world's governments rallied together, forming the Coalition for Human Extraterrestrial Communication, CHEC. Their mission was clear: to establish contact and set the stage for humanity's first interaction with alien life. Captain James Torrance, a seasoned astronaut with a charismatic blend of bravado and intelligence, was chosen to lead this critical mission aboard the USS Horizon. The ship was a marvel of human ingenuity, powered by a fusion drive and equipped with the latest quantum communication systems. As the Horizon approached the coordinates of the signal, anticipation ran high among the crew and back home. Humanity was on the cusp of answering the age-old question: are we alone in the universe? As they neared the source of the signals, the crew's excitement turned to awe when a massive spacecraft emerged from behind the shadow of a dwarf planet. It was sleek and shimmering, reflecting the sun's rays in a spectrum of colors that no human had ever seen. This was the Vraxian Envoy, a race from beyond the known galaxy, and their ship dwarfed the Horizon in both size and sophistication. The first contact protocols, meticulously planned and rehearsed, were about to be put into action. James initiated the greeting sequence, a series of mathematical and musical patterns designed to demonstrate intelligence and peaceful intent. The response was almost immediate. A similar pattern returned, followed by a simple visual message showing 3 Vraxians extending their hands. Heart-pounding with the realization of the moment's significance, James and his selected crew members donned their ceremonial uniforms, each stitch and fold representing Earth's diverse cultures. In the airlock, James reviewed the final procedures. "Remember," he said, turning to his team, "every action, every word we take is not just ours but represents all of humanity." The airlock doors opened, and they were transported to the Vraxian ship via an energy beam, a process that was both exhilarating and disorienting. They arrived in a hall of light and shadows where 3 Vraxians awaited. Their appearance was striking, tall with translucent skin and glowing veins that pulsed with light. Their faces were kind, with deep expressive eyes that immediately put the human crew at ease. James stepped forward, extending his hand in a gesture of friendship, just as practiced. To his surprise, the lead Vraxian recoiled slightly, a murmur rippling through their ranks. The moment hung suspended, James's hand still outstretched as a rapid exchange of clicks and tones passed between the Vraxians. After a tense minute, the lead Vraxian extended its own hand, mimicking James's gesture. The handshake, however, was anything but ordinary. As their hands met, a surge of information flowed directly into James's mind. Images, emotions, histories, all cascaded through his consciousness in seconds. It was the Vraxian way of introduction, deep, immersive, and overwhelming. James staggered back, supported by his crew. The Vraxians looked on, a mix of concern and confusion evident in their posture. Realizing the misunderstanding, the lead Vraxian communicated through a device that translated their thoughts. "We meant no harm. Our greetings merge consciousness for understanding. We see now this is not your way." James, recovering from the initial shock, responded with a cautious smile. "It's quite an introduction," he said, his voice steady though his mind was still racing. "We use simpler means, but we're eager to learn and share." The incident, broadcast live across Earth, was met with a mix of awe and humor. Humanity had envisioned many scenarios for first contact, yet none included what was quickly dubbed the Mindshake incident. Back on Earth, the media had a field day with the footage, and it wasn't long before humanity became a galactic punchline. But beyond the jokes and the viral videos, there was a genuine fascination and an eagerness to learn more about these new cosmic neighbors. James and his team spent weeks aboard the Vraxian vessel, exchanging information about their cultures, technologies, and philosophies. The Vraxians were patient and gracious hosts, keen on establishing a relationship based on mutual respect and learning. They shared their advanced knowledge of astrophysics, medicine, and energy, intrigued by the humans' creativity and resilience. Following the groundbreaking and somewhat comical first encounter with the Vraxians, the Earth was invited to send a representative to the Galactic Council, a governing body that oversaw peace and cooperation among the myriad civilizations of the known galaxy. The council was held on the Zifra station, a massive structure orbiting a picturesque gas giant, home to representatives from over 300 star systems. Captain James Torrance, fresh from his role as humanity's inaugural ambassador to the Vraxians, was the natural choice for this monumental responsibility. With the initial blunders now a cherished anecdote in his repertoire, James was determined to ensure Earth's integration into the galactic community would be smooth and respected. Upon arriving at Zephyra Station, James was struck by the incredible diversity of the council members. Beings of all shapes and sizes filled the halls. Some floated in anti-gravity chambers, others glided on silken wings, while some communicated via colors flashing across their skin. Each species brought a unique perspective to the council, and it quickly became apparent that humans, with their relatively primitive technology and straightforward communication, were outliers. The council meetings were a whirlwind of alien protocol and complex etiquette. James spent the first few weeks in a haze of briefings and faux pas, gradually decoding the subtle intricacies of galactic diplomacy. His every move was scrutinized, his every word weighed for deeper meanings. The other representatives, though initially dismissive of the human delegate, began to take note of his earnest efforts and undeniable charm. Humanity's reputation as the galaxy's comic relief was hard to shake, however. During a session on interstellar trade laws, James inadvertently triggered a diplomatic kerfuffle when he mispronounced the name of the Grutok species, turning a formal address into an unintended insult. The incident could have soured relations, but James's quick apology and willingness to learn from his mistake turned the situation around. His humility and straightforwardness, so different from the usual political maneuvering, slowly won him allies. As James navigated these diplomatic waters back on Earth, the public followed his journey with bated breath. Each misstep, each triumph was broadcast across the globe, fostering a sense of unity and pride among the disparate nations of Earth. Humans began to see themselves not just as citizens of their countries, but as members of a galactic community. The turning point came during a crisis on the mining colony of Tauran 3, where a dispute over resource extraction rights threatened to escalate into violence. The colony was inhabited by several species, including humans, and the conflict posed a significant test of the Galactic Council's ability to maintain peace. James proposed a novel solution, a joint management team comprising representatives from all affected species, including humans, to oversee the colony's operations. His proposal emphasized transparency, shared responsibility, and equitable distribution of profits. After intense negotiations and considerable skepticism, the council agreed to trial James's plan. The success of the Tauran 3 agreement was a watershed moment for humanity's standing in the council. The resolution not only prevented a conflict but also demonstrated that humans could offer valuable insights into galactic issues. James's role as the architect of peace elevated his status among the council members, shifting their perception from seeing humans as a source of amusement to acknowledging them as a potential force for good in the galaxy. Emboldened by this success, James pushed for more initiatives to integrate Earth technology and ideas into the galactic community. He advocated for human scientists to participate in interstellar research teams and for Earth to host a series of cultural exchanges. Each successful integration further cemented humanity's place at the council table. As Earth's influence grew within the Galactic Council, so too did the stakes of interstellar politics. The Krills, a formidable warrior race known for their martial prowess and territorial aggression, began to see the expanding human influence as a threat to their own ambitions. Their empire was vast, built on conquest and subjugation, and they viewed the Council's cooperative approach as a weakness to be exploited. James, ever watchful, began to receive troubling reports of Krill skirmishes along the borders of Allied territories. These were no mere border disputes but a calculated test of the Galactic Council's resolve. The Council, however, was slow to react. Its members, diverse in their philosophies and scattered across thousands of light years, struggled to form a unified response. James saw the brewing storm and knew that if unchecked, the Krills could destabilize the fragile peace that the Council had maintained. Recognizing the need for a proactive approach, James proposed a controversial plan: a preemptive strike to disable the Krills' military capabilities before they could launch a full-scale war. His suggestion was met with shock and disbelief. Never before had the Council endorsed such aggressive tactics. Debate raged, with many fearing that such an action would only escalate the conflict. However, the tide turned when a covert krill operation against a peaceful trading convoy was exposed. The incident, which resulted in the loss of lives and the capture of several council species, galvanized the members. Reluctantly, they began to see James's point. The krills respected only strength. With a narrow majority, the council approved a limited military engagement, officially naming Earth to lead the coalition. The decision was historic, marking the first time humans were granted command over a mixed-species fleet. Despite the council's support, the task was daunting. Earth's fleet was technologically inferior to the krill's warships, and they lacked experience in interstellar combat at such a scale. Back on Earth, the news that humanity would lead a galactic war effort stirred a mix of pride and fear. James spearheaded an international call to arms, urging the world's nations to unite under the common cause of defending the galactic peace. Innovators, engineers, and military strategists from around the globe collaborated, pushing the boundaries of Earth's technology. The strategy they developed was unconventional, leveraging human ingenuity and adaptability. They enhanced their spacecraft with stealth technologies borrowed from the Vraxians and implemented guerrilla tactics, planning to use the element of surprise against the more powerful krill fleet. As the human-led coalition assembled, James took personal command of the flagship, the Endeavour. The fleet comprised a diverse array of ships from different council species, each contributing their unique strengths to the unified force. James worked tirelessly to foster camaraderie among the disparate crews, knowing that unity would be their greatest strength. Finally, as the krills massed for an assault on the mining world of Nixteri, a strategic point crucial to the production of hyperfuel, the coalition fleet made its move. In a bold maneuver, they launched a surprise attack on the krill staging area, catching the aggressors off guard. The battle was fierce, with both sides suffering heavy losses. However, the krills, unprepared for the tenacity and tactical creativity of the human-led forces, began to falter. James, commanding from the front, made critical decisions that turned the tide in several key engagements. As the krills retreated, licking their wounds, the galaxy watched in stunned silence. The humans, once the laughingstock of the community, had not only held their own, but had led a coalition to a significant victory. The battle's outcome reshaped the galactic perception of Earth. James, once merely a curious captain at the helm of a misunderstood species, was now hailed as a strategic genius, his name respected and feared among allies and adversaries alike. The victory at Nixteri was not just a military triumph, but a statement to the galaxy. Earth was a force to be reckoned with, and underestimating humans was a grave mistake. The Council, now seeing the value of proactive defense, began to revise its strategies, with Earth playing a central role in shaping the future of galactic security. As tensions with the krills escalated, James knew that Earth had to play a pivotal role in the forthcoming conflict. His proposal to the Galactic Council was bold. Earth would spearhead the coalition forces against the krills. This decision was met with mixed reactions. While some admired Earth's courage, others doubted its capability, recalling Earth's initial missteps in the galactic arena with a mix of skepticism and ridicule. Back on Earth, James's call to arms resonated deeply. The planet was no longer just fighting for a spot at the galactic table, but was now defending the very ethos of interstellar society. Governments worldwide, previously divided by terrestrial politics, found a new unity in the face of this extraterrestrial threat. Resources were pooled, and an international fleet was rapidly assembled. The world's top scientists, engineers, and strategists worked together to retrofit and enhance Earth's existing space vessels with the latest alien technologies, many of which were contributions from galactic allies who had come to respect and support Earth's efforts. Training for the Earth Coalition forces was intense. James established a training program that integrated human and alien tactics, creating a hybrid approach to warfare that was unpredictable and adaptive. Pilots, soldiers, and commanders from various planets worked side by side, learning from each other's strengths and covering each other's weaknesses. The preparation phase was a crucible, forging alliances and friendships that transcended species and worlds. Meanwhile, intelligence missions were crucial. James coordinated with spies and informants across the galaxy to gather as much information as possible about the krill's movements, strategies, and weaknesses. This intelligence was invaluable, shaping the coalition's strategy and giving them a fighting chance against a superior enemy. Technology also played a critical role in the preparations. Earth's engineers collaborated with alien technologists to develop new weapon systems and defense mechanisms. One significant breakthrough was the creation of a stealth technology that could hide ships from Krill's advanced sensors, giving the Coalition a strategic advantage of surprise. As the fleet neared readiness, James spent hours in the strategy room on Zifra Station, planning the Coalition's first strike. The mood was tense, as the weight of what they were about to undertake settled on everyone's shoulders. They were not just fighting for their homes, but for the principle that no species should dominate another through fear and force. Finally, after months of relentless preparation, the Earth-led coalition was ready. Ships from dozens of worlds bearing the flags of their planets alongside Earth's gathered at the rendezvous point near the edge of Krill territory. James addressed the fleet, his voice steady and inspiring across the intercom. "This is more than a fight for territory or revenge. This is about proving that the spirit of cooperation can overcome the fires of conquest. We stand together, diverse but united. Let's show the Krills that strength is not measured in firepower alone, but in the resolve to stand up for what is right." With that, the fleet powered up their engines, the newly installed stealth systems flickering to life. The first battle of what would come to be known as the Great Galactic War was about to begin. The first engagement of the Coalition forces took place near the strategic wormhole junction at Relara Point, a crucial gateway that the Krills needed to secure for their continued expansion. The element of surprise was crucial, and James had planned the assault to maximize this advantage. As the Coalition fleet emerged from the shadow of a moon, their stealth technology proved effective beyond expectations. The Krills, caught off guard, scrambled to mount a defense. Their ships were larger and more heavily armed, but they were not prepared for the unique tactics that James had devised. Earth ships, smaller and more agile, darted through the Krill formation, striking at critical points before quickly retreating. These hit-and-run tactics frustrated the Krill commanders, who were used to straightforward confrontations. Meanwhile, alien allies specialized in electronic warfare jammed the Krill's communication, adding to the chaos. One particular maneuver, later known as the Torrent's Feint, became a textbook example of tactical innovation. James orchestrated a series of deceptive moves that drew a large portion of the Krill fleet out of position. Then, a hidden squadron of Coalition ships, led personally by James, struck at the now exposed Krill flagship. The battle raged for hours with losses on both sides. The humans and their allies fought with a ferocity that honored their diverse homeworlds. Pilots from Earth flew in lethal unison with their alien counterparts, weaving through enemy lines with synchronized precision that spoke of their intense training and newfound brotherhood. As the pivotal moment of the battle approached, James made a critical decision. Rather than pressing their initial advantage to a potentially costly victory, he ordered a strategic withdrawal, conserving their forces and dragging the Krills further into Coalition-controlled space, where reinforcements waited. This decision proved wise. The Krills, overextended and confused, fell into the trap. Surrounded and outgunned, their flagship was eventually captured in a daring boarding action led by a mixed team of human and alien Marines. The victory at Relara Point was not just a tactical win, but a significant psychological blow to the Krills, who had underestimated the strategic capabilities of the Coalition, particularly the humans. The news of the battle spread quickly across the galaxy. The victory was a clear message. Earth and its allies were not only participants in the galactic community, but formidable architects of its defense. The Coalition's morale soared, and James became a symbol of the new united front against tyranny. With the decisive victory at Relara Point, the perception of humanity among the galactic community shifted dramatically. The Coalition forces, invigorated by their success and bolstered by the strategic genius of Captain James Torrance, began to push back against the Krill invasion with renewed vigor. Across the galaxy, news of the battle inspired other worlds to join the Coalition. The fleet swelled with ships from dozens of planets, each eager to contribute to what was now seen not only as a necessary war for survival, but a righteous crusade led by an unlikely hero from Earth. James found himself not only coordinating vast fleets in battle, but also navigating the complex politics of an alliance that spanned hundreds of cultures and systems. As the war continued, James focused on leveraging the unique strengths of each species within the Coalition. The Zypherians, with their advanced shield technology, fortified key positions. The agile and swift Tormak pilots became invaluable in dogfights, turning the tides in numerous aerial skirmishes. Meanwhile, Earth's engineers worked tirelessly to retrofit coalition ships with the stealth technology that had proven so effective, creating a fleet that was not only powerful but elusive. The next major campaign was the liberation of the Navara system, a cluster of planets that had been among the first to fall to the Krills. The system was crucial, serving as a supply and logistical hub for the Krill war effort. Liberating Navara would not only deal a significant blow to Krill logistics, but also provide a strategic foothold for launching further assaults into enemy territory. The operation began with a feint, drawing the Krill fleet away from Navara with a diversionary attack led by the Tormak squadrons. Meanwhile, the main coalition forces, spearheaded by the now famed Earth fleet, launched a surprise attack on the system. The battle was fierce, with heavy casualties on both sides, but the coalition's superior tactics and the element of surprise led to a stunning victory. With Navara liberated, the coalition established a forward base from which they could repair and resupply. The victory served as a beacon, rallying more worlds to the cause. James used this momentum to advocate for greater integration and cooperation among the coalition members, proposing joint training programs and unified command structures. His efforts culminated in the formation of the Unified Galactic Front, UGF, a formal alliance that would coordinate the efforts of all coalition forces. James was unanimously elected as the Supreme Commander, a testament to his leadership and the respect he had earned across the galaxy. Under his command, the UGF launched several successful operations, systematically reclaiming territories and pushing the Krills back to their core worlds. Each victory added to the legend of the once underestimated humans and their charismatic leader. However, James knew that the war was far from over. The Krills were regrouping, and he anticipated a fierce counterattack. Preparations began for what he believed would be the defining battle of the war, the Siege of Varnak, a heavily fortified Krill stronghold that guarded the approach to their home system. As the UGF forces gathered for the upcoming siege, James reflected on the journey so far. From the awkward beginnings of First Contact to the leader of a galactic coalition, humanity's role had transformed under his leadership. The final battle loomed on the horizon, promising to be the most challenging yet. But James was ready, as were the diverse forces under his command, united in their purpose and resolved to see peace restored to the galaxy. The Siege of Varnak was planned as the ultimate test of the Unified Galactic Front's resolve and capability. Located on the edge of Krill-controlled space, Varnak was not just a military stronghold, but also a symbolic bastion of the Krill's oppressive regime. The fortress was surrounded by dense asteroid fields and protected by the latest defensive technologies. Breaking through would require more than just military might. It demanded unprecedented coordination and strategic ingenuity. Under the command of Supreme Commander James Torrance, the coalition forces gathered at the staging area, a discreet base hidden within a nebula far from Varnak. The atmosphere among the troops was a mix of determination and anxiety. For many, this battle was not just about defeating a formidable enemy, but also about avenging the devastation inflicted upon their worlds. James's plan for the siege involved multiple phases, each designed to exploit the coalition's diverse capabilities. The first phase was to neutralize the asteroid field defenses. Engineers from Earth and the Grutak engineers, known for their expertise in explosive ordnance, designed a series of synchronized detonations to clear a path through the asteroids, while minimizing the risk to the fleet. Once the path was cleared, the Tormak pilots led the charge, using their superior agility to engage the Krill defenses and draw their fire away from the slower, heavier ships. Meanwhile, special operations teams from various coalition species, including humans, prepared for a ground assault on the fortress itself. As the space battle raged, James coordinated the movements from his flagship, constantly adjusting tactics in response to the evolving situation. The Krills fought with desperation, aware that losing Varnak could signify the beginning of the end for their empire. After hours of intense combat, a breach in the fortress's outer defenses was finally achieved. Coalition troops, led by a joint human-Zephyrian squad, stormed the stronghold. The ground battle was brutal, with close-quarters combat testing the resolve and training of every soldier. However, the coalition's morale was buoyed by the belief in their cause and the trust they had in their comrades from different worlds. Meanwhile, James received word that a significant portion of the Krill fleet was en route to reinforce Varnak. he made a crucial decision to deploy the newly developed Phantom drones, stealth units capable of mimicking the energy signatures of Krill ships. This diversion created confusion and disorder among the arriving Krill reinforcements, allowing coalition forces to isolate and engage them effectively. The turning point came when the coalition forces managed to disable Varnak's main power grid. With the fortress's shields and defense systems compromised, the remaining Krill forces surrendered, marking the end of one of the most challenging battles of the war. In the aftermath, the siege of Varnak was celebrated as a monumental victory, not just tactically but also symbolically. It demonstrated the strength and unity of the coalition, showcasing how diverse species could come together under a common cause. For James, the victory was a personal triumph, reinforcing his leadership and further solidifying humanity's reputation as a key player in the galactic community. As the coalition forces began the task of securing Varnak and treating the wounded, James took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought them here. From being the galaxy's laughingstock to leading its greatest alliance, humanity had proven itself a force to be reckoned with. But more importantly, they had shown that principles like unity and justice could prevail even against the darkest odds. The war was not over yet, but the victory at Varnak was a decisive blow to the Krill's morale and strategic capabilities. Now, with the fortress under their control, the coalition could push forward to the Krill home systems, bringing the war to an eventual hopeful end. Following the stunning victory at the siege of Varnak, the Unified Galactic Front, UGF, prepared to leverage their hard-won momentum. The fortress had not only been a strategic stronghold, but also a trove of Krill military intelligence. Analysis of the captured data revealed weaknesses in the Krill's defensive network, providing the UGF with a tactical roadmap to potentially end the war. Under Supreme Commander James Torrance's leadership, the coalition swiftly moved to capitalize on this new advantage. The final campaign, dubbed Operation Stellar Hammer, was designed to systematically dismantle the remaining Krill strongholds, pushing towards their capital. Each step was calculated, with James ensuring that the coalition forces maintained the unity and coordination that had brought them this far. The operation commenced with a series of coordinated strikes across key Krill territories. The Krills, already demoralized from the loss at Varnak, found themselves outmaneuvered at every turn. Earth's forces in particular had become adept at utilizing the combined technologies and tactics of their allies, leading assaults that were as innovative as they were effective. As the UGF forces approached the Krill capital, a tense, expectant calm settled over the coalition. The final battle was imminent, and its outcome would likely determine the fate of the galaxy for generations to come. James, ever the strategist, planned a multi-pronged assault that involved both a massive space engagement and a ground invasion of the Krill homeworld. The space battle was a spectacle of coordination and technology. Ships from different worlds, each with its unique capabilities, formed a ballet of destruction around the Krill defenses. James directed the fleet from his command ship, his calm demeanor belaying the intense focus with which he executed the battle plan. On the ground, coalition troops led by human commanders used the chaos above as cover to land on the Krill planet. The ground forces, including elite units from various coalition species, moved quickly to secure strategic locations across the capital. Their objective was clear: capture key government and military installations and, if possible, the Krill leadership itself. The battle for the capital was fierce, with heavy casualties on both sides. However, the determination and courage of the coalition forces, driven by a desire to end the Krill threat once and for all, eventually prevailed. The Krill leaders, seeing the futility of further resistance, surrendered to James, asking for mercy and a chance to negotiate peace. The treaty signing ceremony took place on Zephyra Station, under the auspices of the Galactic Council. The Krills formally agreed to cease hostilities and dismantle their military apparatus, in exchange for amnesty and integration into the galactic community under strict supervision. This moment, broadcast across the galaxy, was not just a testament to the end of the war, but also a vindication of the principles the UGF had fought for. James stood before the Galactic Council and the assembled representatives of the galaxy, his speech resonating not just as a declaration of victory, but as a promise of a new era of peace and cooperation. This war, he stated, was not waged for conquest or revenge. It was fought to affirm our shared values of freedom, unity, and peace. Let this victory be a reminder of what we can achieve when we stand together. As celebrations erupted across the galaxy, James felt a profound sense of accomplishment and relief. The war had tested him and humanity in ways he could never have imagined, transforming them both. Humanity was no longer seen as the galactic underdog, but as a key player in the cosmic arena, capable of leading not just in war, but more importantly, in peace. The war had ended, but for James and humanity, a new chapter was just beginning, one filled with opportunities to build, to heal, and to further integrate into the community they had fought so hard to protect. As he returned to Earth, James looked forward to contributing to this new era, guiding humanity as they navigated the complex but hopeful future that lay ahead.